Was geht, Freunde? Wie gut geht's euch? Ich hoffe, ihr habt einen gesegneten Tag. Herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge vom Christografen Podcast. Der Podcast, der dich motivieren soll, deine Gabe zu nutzen, um Reich Gottes zu bauen. Heute nicht mit Helge, aber mit einem ganz besonderen anderen Gast, Alex, Dion Wilson. Und der Rest der Podcast wird auch in Englisch sein. What's up, Alex? So good to have you here.
What's up? Glad to be here.
Okay, for those of you that don't know Alex, Alex is a huge role model of mine. He's actually the guy that got me started 1 year ago to start creating content about Jesus for God's glory. And he's the father of three young boys. He's the pastor of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and I believe Twitch live church as well, which is crazy. He's a content creator, just reached 1 million followers on TikTok yesterday. And he's a great guy. And I'm so glad you're here, Alex. Good to have you.
Good to have you, man. Thanks for letting me be here. I'm so excited. I'm sorry it took this long. We should have did this a long time ago.
Yes, we should have, but it's good that we finally get to do this. So one question we always like to ask, because you do so much stuff, how would you describe yourself, or how do you introduce yourself when someone asks you, hey, Alex, what are you doing? People that you just get to know. What do you tell them?
My first thing I say is I make videos about God. And if they ask deeper, I say like on my website, it calls me a Christian content creator. It depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to like a non-believer who doesn't really know anything about God, I'll just be like, yeah, I make videos about God on TikTok and YouTube. And they'll be like, oh, okay, they'll get it basically. But yeah, if I'm talking to a Christian person or someone in the church, I might say I'm a Christian content creator. But most people know me for pastoring Insta Church Live, TikTok Church Live, and YouTube Church Live. We tried Twitch Church Live, but I'm not a gamer, so it just didn't work. So we kind of just gave up. Like, we still have the URL. Or we might have deleted the account. I don't remember, but we don't really do it anymore. It's just I have to like basically have to be a gamer for it to work.
Yeah. Did you do like a couple of test services on it, and how did that work?
Yeah.
We
got a couple, like, I think I got up to like maybe 400, 500 like subscribers on Twitch.
That's a lot, though.
But the services like got up to about anywhere between 50 to 100 views. So it was cool, but they were all my followers from like TikTok going over to my Twitch account. So it was cool.
I see.
But I see churches do it, and I think it's very incarnational. Like you basically have to be like gaming, playing a couple games with people, and then pause it, do a Bible study, and then keep it going. Or I see a Life Church, what they do is they play a little bit, and then they stream their service, and then they come back afterwards and they talk about it with the main gamer that's on the channel. So yeah, it's pretty incarnational. Like, you got to really be a part of that community for it to work.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, when you posted it, I was like, okay, Twitch might be the next platform to get on, because we're doing Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now as well. But that's good to hear. So how did you get started with all of that? What's kind of like your backstory? Where do you come from, for those of you that don't know, kind of like a little bit of your testimony as well, and how did that lead you to start creating content?
Yeah, I think it definitely starts with like the first time I saw a bad video. So I make videos for a living now, and they're very clean and wholesome. But where it all started, I think, is like I was probably 8 or 9 when I saw porn for the first time. And that kind of like characterized my life. Even though I became a believer shortly after that as a young kid, that characterized like my life of addiction in drugs and parties and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was 19 where I started reading the Bible after I got into a gang-related fight. And then after that, started reading the Bible, and 16 days, 1 chapter a day of Mark. It was like day 14 that everything just changed, and the light bulb turned on, and everything switched. And I had freedom from porn. I still struggled with it, with lust. And even to this day, lust is still like a temptation totally for me. But I have freedom from it, and I don't have to give into it, which is amazing. Back before Christ, before I really started following Christ, I was a slave to it. And so once I really started following Christ, that was about 9 years ago when I really became a believer. The first thing that happened after I started reading my Bible, after picking up a Bible, I picked up a camera. To this day, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I saw that bad content so many years ago, and I wanted to make good content. Because bad content ruined my life. So I just I started filming everything, all my skate videos, like filming me and my friends, just like going to the park, like whatever it was, I would just make these videos and I wouldn't even post them. I would just make them. And then, yeah, I went on a missions trip. I posted that to the internet, and then I started posting a couple other videos. And then I became a youth pastor. And as a youth pastor, I was like realizing like kids are only at church for 2 hours, but the rest of the week they're at school or with their friends. And so I was like, I don't even feel like I'm being a good youth pastor if I'm not actively trying to help them connect to God throughout the week, not just this 2-hour night of us
That's
hanging
good.
out.
Yeah.
And so I would just start making videos and post them. I would even send it to the kids or whatever while they're at school. And they were called 10-second sermons back then. It was about, yeah, 7 or 8 years ago, I started doing that.
That's crazy.
That landed me, it landed me a couple jobs at churches. So I was like, man, if people will like hire me for this, then I guess like I should keep doing it. And that led me to getting a church in Hawaii looking at me, and they flew out to California, met me, and then they offered me a job. So my wife's Hawaiian, my kids are Hawaiian. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's move to Hawaii. And so we did. And I was sitting on the high school pastors of this church on his couch.
Yeah.
And he sat me down. He was like, Logan Paul is on our island right now. I was like, who the heck is Logan Paul? And he's like, he's a YouTuber. Like, he's a big Viner and he's a YouTuber. And I was like, okay, like, let's check it out. So we watched his vlog, one of his vlogs. And I was like, at this time, I'm still making videos. But this is the first time I was like, I got to get on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's because I saw Logan and I saw how many views he had and how much influencing power he had. Like, every one of these people who are watching this video, he has control over them. Like, he can make them buy whatever he tells them to buy, listen to whatever he tells them to listen to. And that was the first time I was like, man, we need to have a Christian version of him. And I'm not saying I'm the Christian version of him, but that's when I was like, dude, like, we got to have Christians influence. Otherwise, we're going to lose the fight of the internet. And so that's when I just started going even harder on YouTube and Instagram. And then it got to the point where like I was going so hard that the people at my church didn't understand why I wanted to make Christian content. And so we just parted ways. I left that church and I moved back to California. And then for a year, this is about 2 years ago now, for a year, I just went crazy, like just super crazy on Instagram and YouTube. This is when you found me.
Yeah, that was like last year ago,
during this time. And during that 2-year period, I was at the zoo one day with my family, and I saw this girl on TikTok, and she was on it for like 30 minutes. Like, she was sitting in front of us at the zoo, and she's like 12 years old. And I was like, dude, this girl has been on TikTok for like 30 minutes. And so I told myself, when I get back home and I get my phone, I'm going to download it and I'm going to like start posting my videos that I've already made onto TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I did. Started like downloading stories that I made, Instagram stories or other videos that I made. The first one got 200,000 views.
Crazy.
Crazy, dude. And this was September 2019 that I downloaded TikTok.
Yeah,
and
me
so
too.
Yeah, same time. And so I just started posting like crazy over there. And I was like, what is happening? I thought the app was broken. Because I was like, one day I had like 2 days in, I had 10,000 followers. And then 3 days in, 30,000 followers. And it was just like growing like crazy. And so, I just kept going on TikTok. I was like, God, I guess this is the platform that you want for me. And so I just went crazy. And now, we just hit 1 million 2 days ago.
Wow. Not even a year.
Or yesterday.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, you're in Hawaii right now. I'm in Sydney, just for the people kind of get like a location context. It's Sunday right here.
Crazy.
You still got Saturday over there. But to touch on that, because I found your videos first, I believe like April or March 2019 on Instagram because of that shout out Pro Church tools gave you back then. I was like, wow, this guy creates content. I was like, I want to create content like this, because I've been doing like YouTube before and like kind of like Gary Vee stuff, like self-improvement, motivation stuff. I was like, this never like really satisfied me within. I was like, this is just like for nothing. And when I saw your videos, I was like, dude, I want to create content like that, and start out in English as well.
Awesome.
And you've been telling me the whole time, Paul, start doing content in German. People in Germany need to hear the gospel as well. I was like, man, English is like more accepted in the US, and it's like the culture, it's more like Christian culture over there, not as much in Germany. So I did English, and then when I first got on TikTok, because of Gary Vee taught me as well, and just posted my English videos, and people were making fun of me. They were like, "Oh, your German accent is so hard, like you can hear that you're from Germany." I was like, "Ah, screw this." So I did one German video, and that video blew up, just like just like your first video. Like first 24 hours had like 100,000 views. I was like, "Okay, God, from now on we're gonna do German content," and that's when I decided, okay, we're gonna do German content, revival in Germany, which has been
That's
crazy
awesome.
ever since. And yeah, you were the guy that pushed me to do that. I was like, it's crazy. Forever grateful
That's cool.
for.
I remember that conversation. I didn't
Yeah,
want to tell you that. I was like, I don't want to discourage him because like I know he's probably gonna end up living in America one day or whatever and like move
yeah,
here or whatever. But I was like, dude, I don't want to discourage him, but I think this will work. So I just told you.
yeah, dude, definitely. And like Isaac told me that as well. Isaac Whedon, you know him. He's like, dude, do German content. You've been telling me that. I was like, "Ah." And then I did it, and that's just like what God blessed, and it's been growing ever since. It's been
That's
crazy.
awesome. Cool.
Awesome. So good. So in 2019, you decided to do this full time, right? You've been working as a youth pastor before, and then you were like, okay, gonna make this decision to do this full time. And it's kind of like a decision that I'm struggling with as well, because I'm doing college here. I'm doing so much stuff, doing a podcast, doing content. I started like cutting people's hair, doing a little bit of barbering to just earn some money on the side. But I realized I have to make a decision. Like I have to make a decision
Yeah,
for one thing, because I'm an
totally.
average, I'm an average college student, I'm an average barber, I'm an average content creator, because I'm not focusing on one thing. What helped you
Yeah.
to make that decision, to take that like leap of faith? Or what was the point when you decided to like quit doing youth pastoring and full-time go into social media?
It was a weekend that I really decided I want to do it full time. I was really struggling with doing both, like creating content and then also youth pastoring, just only because if I was the head pastor of a church, I would say to my youth pastor, yes, like make content. Like I would make that a part of his requirement to be a youth pastor,
Yeah,
just because of the sheer fact of how much time kids spend outside of church. Like it's
yeah,
simple. But the head pastor of my church didn't think that way. And so it was one weekend where the high school pastor basically told me to stop making videos.
yeah.
And then I was getting ready for our Sunday meeting, youth meeting. And me and a volunteer were getting ready or whatever. And I just like was feeling so not understood and so like just rejected by the leadership of my church, that I thought, you know what, like this frustration that I have is not going to go away until I feel like I'm doing what I'm called to do.
Mm,
And I was constantly frustrated. And like when I'm really frustrated, that's when like temptation is at its peak for me. Because I feel like if I give into temptation, the frustration will go away. And so I was like, you know what? I'm sick of like struggling with the same stuff. I'm sick of the frustration. I'm sick of these feelings. I don't think I'm gonna be like, you know, at peace until I just do it. And so I told my wife, like, we're gonna quit the church and we're just gonna figure it out, or quit working at a church and figure it out. And so that's what we did. And we realized like we couldn't keep living in Hawaii because it was gonna take some time to start a career. And so we had to move back. We ended up living with my parents for a year. Actually, exactly a year. We
yeah.
left Hawaii the first time on Halloween, and we moved back on Halloween a year later.
Oh, I
Exactly a year.
remember that.
Yeah, and Halloween's my favorite holiday too, so it was a big deal, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was this moment of realizing, you know what, like I want to do this. Like I want to influence the world for the kingdom of God, and it takes faith. Just like I mean, going back to Logan Paul, it took him, you know, it took faith for him to do what he's doing too. He's not making Christian content, but it took a level of faith in himself to be like, you know what, I'm going to make this work. And the only opposite with me is it took faith in God. I thought like, God, if this is what you want me to do, if this is going to work, if this is how you want me to reach people, then I'm just going to jump out on faith and do it. And there's milestones. There's very, very lonely, dark, scary moments, but then there's milestones that you hit. Like this shout out from Pro Church Tools. That was a big one. Like when some of my favorite Christian rappers followed me, like that was a big one too. Stuff like that. Yeah. Hitting 1 million was a big one too. There's definitely a lot more in between. But yeah, Corona was one because Corona blew up our online churches, our social media churches.
Yeah.
So there's milestones.
And those just like kind of like reaffirmed you to like keep going. Yeah.
Every time you hit one of those peaks, it makes me more devoted to it. It makes me feel like, okay, I definitely can't go back. After hitting 50,000 on TikTok, I was like, okay, I got to keep going. And then 100,000 and then 200,000. It was like every time I hit that, it was like, okay, I'm going. And that's why we have to really celebrate those things and talk about it, because there's a part of us that's like, well, I don't want to make it about myself. I don't want to celebrate it, but you got to celebrate that stuff, dude, because they only happen once. Like I'm only going to hit 1 million once, you know? Right, and then, so I was telling someone, I was like, dude, I wish I could go back to the feeling I had when I hit like 70,000. Like I wish I could get that feeling, because it was such like this amazing feeling. Like I'm only getting started, you know? And so cherish it, man. Cherish
I remember
it,
when I hit 10K, I was like partying. I was like with my boys, and we were all excited. We're like, wow, let's go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
that's so cool. You talked about that the other day as well. You when you hit 1 million on TikTok, you're like, the next goal is 15 million on TikTok. What are like your other goals or your vision for Insta Church Life, for TikTok Church Life? Where do you want it to go in the next couple of years? What's your bigger picture behind all of that?
Yeah, I think 1 million on Insta Church Live, 1 million on my personal Instagram page, 1 million on YouTube Church Live, and yeah, 1 million on TikTok Church Live too. So I think 1 million on all of them is the next goal. I think for this year, the goal is 1 million on YouTube Church Live and then Insta Church Live. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to reach like a ton of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our goal. And then one of the other goals is to work with like big brands. So like, I mean, I'm not really into brands that much, but like brands like Nike, brands like, I don't know, Kellogg's, like Oreos, like big brands that everyone knows.
Yeah.
I want to become so big that brands like that can't afford to say no to me, you know? And so like, and the reason why is because that does something to a kid's head. Like it just does. Like I know, like if you, for example, Under Armour, when Steph Curry put a Bible verse on his shoes, that was a big deal for me personally. I was like, man, if Steph Curry can take this secular company and say, hey, if you want me, you got to have God too. If he could say that to them, then I can say it to anyone. And it just means that it just shows you that God is in control of this universe and it's his world. And there's nowhere that the kingdom of God cannot go. So yeah, that's just our goal is that. And then another goal that I have is just to see a lot of people do what I do. Just to see a lot of guys like you. Like earlier before this, we were talking about a Hawaii trip where I'm going to have like a couple guys like yourself come out here and just do an intensive with me. And we just like make content, do church services on social media, and just freaking just grow and just share like what we struggle with or whatever. Yeah, that's another goal. Just getting guys to get on board and do this.
Bro, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Guys and girls.
Yeah. Having all this said, like these huge numbers, these huge goals, and like something that I find myself, and I talked to some friends about that as well, that create content, and just like the struggle, this just like 20,000 views, like 10,000 views. What helps you to like really see those 10,000 souls behind those huge numbers?
Yeah, I think on a bad day, it definitely can become numbers. It definitely can be, because they're numbers on a screen. Like if we saw the faces, it'd be a lot different. And that's why I try to keep my mind where I think like, okay, 20,000 people. What if I was at a conference speaking in front of 20,000 people?
Yeah.
You know, what if like, yeah, it's just a lot of people. So you have to train your mind to think like, okay, if I was in a room with this many people, that'd be a big deal. So that makes the videos that only get 1,000 or 500 views, it makes it a little bit bigger of a deal.
Mm.
Also, like talking to these people. So like FaceTiming them on Instagram, they have a video chat thing, or bringing them into your live, which is probably the safest way. Without, especially if like you're gonna go, if you're single and you're young and you're on live, and you know, one of your followers is a girl and she wants to ask you a question. Best place to probably do that is Instagram, because it's not private, like everyone else is watching too. Yeah, seeing faces, hearing their stories is just powerful, dude. And that just, it helps me to realize what we're doing. And then every once in a while you'll get like one message out of 500 messages that just hits you different, and you're like, bro, this is like, this person seriously is hurting and my content helped them. That's huge. And then also like, yeah, I think like even just talking to you, like doing these podcasts, that's part of the reason why I want to do this podcast, because every time I sit and I talk about what I do, it just makes it a lot more real to me.
That's so true. That's really good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. Something you said earlier about like working with brands like Nike and stuff. Man, it's crazy. Like you always inspire me to like think so much bigger and to think outside the box. I remember like 1 year ago when you did this Instagram or Insta Church Live, first Sunday. I was like, what the heck? How did he come up with an idea like this? This is so crazy. Maybe like touch a little bit on that as well. How did that happen?
Yeah, Insta Church Live happened from actually a John Chris video. I was getting ready for a live show that I did on my page. It was called 8. I know Paul probably knows what 8 is. And so it was a show, it's 8 questions at 8 o'clock. And I was doing it every week. And then I realized, like, you know what, like, I feel like something's missing. Like, I feel like I need to do something better than this. And so when I was feeling that, John Chris posted a music video with a couple other Christian videos or Christian rappers. And I watched the music video. And afterwards, I was like, man, I feel like these guys know what they're doing. Like, Christian rap is like their thing. And then Christian comedy is like his thing. And so I felt like, God, like, I don't have a thing. I don't have something that, like, I know I'm making Christian content, but I don't feel like that's it. I feel like there's a missing piece to it.
Okay.
And then I just was praying hard. And then right after I prayed, God gave me the idea of Instagram church. He was like, why don't you do a church service on Instagram? And I was like, what? And so like, then I called a worship leader and I called a tech director, and they both work at the same church. They're my 2 good friends. And I was like, what do you guys think about this? And they were like, I think that's crazy, but I think it's a really good idea. And so 30 minutes later, they left their church, drove down to my dad's church where I was filming, and we just talked about it. And then 2 days later, we did it. And it was, it was crazy. We made the account, Insta Church Live. We told everyone about it. We announced it. And then, we just did it. The first Sunday, we had like 1,000 people watching. And I think that is still our best service. And the first service, I think, was our best service. Yeah, it was just like so high tech. Like we had like, bro, we probably had like, oh my gosh, we probably had like anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 worth of equipment, all pouring into an iPhone 8.
What? That's crazy.
And it was crazy technical, crazy stuff. It was nuts, but we did it, and it was amazing. It was really cool.
I remember the baptism service. That
was a good one.
That was probably one of my favorites. That was so real, and at the pool over there, that was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do one of those here, like at the beach one day.
Oh, that'd be dope. Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just popped off. It didn't really pop off until Corona.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were already doing YouTube church, but they all kind of popped off after Corona, and it's been fun. It's been really good.
Yeah. That's cool too, because you've been doing that for like a year already. And then something like Corona had to happen for it to like blow up. Like,
yeah, totally.
And that's just like that. Always keep doing it, and at some point it's just like exploding. That's so cool. Another thing that you like always push on is that bring God back to culture hashtag. Tell us a little bit about that. What's your heart behind that?
Yeah, that happens like basically by the slip of a tongue. Like I just said it one day in a video. Like my first videos, whatever, like when all my videos are cringy, but they get less cringy the more I make more. But I
Yeah.
made this one cringy video where I just had this, like, I woke up with this like strong drive to get people to do what I'm doing. And I felt like the only way to really do that was to create a hashtag somewhere that we could all post our stuff and all go to and be encouraged by. And so one of the things I just said in the video was it's time to bring God back to culture.
Yeah.
And I was kind of talking about the idea that like Christianity once like ruled culture. You know, in the Old Testament or New Testament days, it was like the major thing. Catholicism kind of came out, the Catholic Church and Catholicism came out of this like universal church, which is what Catholic means, universal.
Yeah.
It came out of this idea of like all the best authors, all the best artists at the time, they were all Christians and they were just ruling culture like crazy. And so, and then like, what was it? Billy Graham in like the 80s and the 90s, DC Talk, Grits, like those guys were just killing culture. Like that song, My Life Be Like, ooh, ooh, that song,
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge, bro. And those guys are strong believers, like Christian rappers. And they were just killing it. Like everyone wanted to be Christian. Everyone wanted to be a part of the Christian scene. Everybody wanted to be going to the concerts and stuff like that. And so I was like, you know what, why can't we like bring that culture back?
Yeah.
We just left God. Like when we hit the 2000s, we thought we didn't need him anymore. And so bringing that like God culture back, and the thing I just came up with was bringing God back to culture, and it stuck with people. It hit people really hard. And so I was like, I guess I got to keep saying this and doing this. And I haven't been like, I still use that hashtag, but I need to do like a follow-up
Yeah.
video on it and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, do another charge for it.
Do it, bro. Do it.
Yeah,
It's amazing. Because that's kind of like how Make Jesus Go Viral started as well. Because I always
exactly. Yeah,
do you like always use that hashtag? I was like, okay, let's make Jesus go viral. It's kind of like the same heart behind
yeah,
it.
it is.
Bringing
I
God
love that.
to
I got
social
to start
media.
using that hashtag on all my posts. I don't know why I've never used it.
Bro, that'd be huge. Just to tell you a little bit about like our goal and vision until the end of the year, we want to hit 100 million views on TikTok on that hashtag,
Nice.
Make Jesus Go Viral. And what we started is kind of like Make Jesus Go Viral Academy. It's just like a small Facebook group, and we did a couple of live sessions on telling people how we create content and what helps us, and just like to encourage them to start using that hashtag as well and to make Jesus Go Viral. Kind of like a discipleship school of making content,
Yeah.
I guess. And yeah, dude, if you would start using that hashtag, that'd be huge. Like we would hit it in no time.
I will, man. I'll definitely
crazy.
do it. I would love that.
That's crazy.
Cool.
It's just like so good to see because I scroll through that and so many people start creating content as well. It's just like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Because I feel like the whole like ripple effect, what if I'm not even the person that God wants to use like big time? What if I'm just the person, kind of like what you did, inspiring someone else, and that person becomes the next Billy Graham or Charles Spurgeon? I've heard this story once. I don't know if you know about it. Charles Spurgeon was like 12 years old. He came to a small church where like 12 people sit, and this deacon, he wasn't even the full-time pastor, came up that Sunday and preached, and he was like, oh, this was the worst message I ever preached. But Charles Spurgeon became a Christian after this message, and then inspired like millions of people. I was like, this is just crazy.
That's awesome, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's a heavy story.
Yeah. So it's always just
Spurgeon,
like
man.
That mindset.
Spurgeon, the prince of preachers, they call him.
Yes. Talking about him, what are like people that inspire you to create more content, creatives?
Yeah, good question. Man, like one of them is you, honestly, like what you do and the fact that like you just have been so consistent with it. I don't think there's really anyone else that follows me that I've just been like inspired by. Probably you, Elijah. Elijah Lamb is a big TikToker. I just am I'm just so inspired by y'all's potential, you know, like what you guys can do, and what I wish I did when I was at y'all's age. So
How old
definitely
is
you guys.
Elijah? How old is he?
Elijah is probably 17, 18.
Wow, so
I know
young.
he's still in high school. Yeah.
It's crazy.
But yeah, him and definitely Lecrae because of what he's built. Um, yeah, What Up RG is probably my favorite Christian rapper. Or no, What Up RG or Ty Brazzle. Both those guys are my favorite Christian rappers. DJ Michael, he's just a good friend of mine, great DJ. Just his ability to see into the culture. He's just a culture prophet. I haven't really told him this, but he just sees stuff in Christian culture that no one else sees, and he believed in me when I was like really small. Yeah, definitely those guys. Shoot, Daniel in the book of Daniel.
Oh yeah, Cap mentioned him as well.
And then,
Cap,
yeah, I'm
Cap
inspired.
Chatfield.
Who did that?
Cap Chatfield. He said Daniel is like
Oh,
his Bible
yeah,
character that he can relate to.
dude,
So, yeah.
Daniel, and then a lot of like secular people too. Like I'm really inspired by like Tyler Creator. Like I don't listen to his music, but what Tyler's branding and like how he's able to like make an idea come to fruition, Tyler the Creator, is just like so powerful. And how it doesn't matter how weird or different it is, he just believes in it so hard that it makes people want it. You know, it's pretty crazy how he can do that. Kanye, obviously, Kid Cudi. Like I said, I don't really listen to all these guys' music. I'm a big Kanye fan though. I mean, I've been with him since day one. Kid Cudi created a subculture of rap that wasn't there.
Okay.
This idea that you can like talk about your feelings and like talk about, you know, anything but your like butts and money. Like that didn't happen before Kid Cudi. Like he created that. Yeah, I'm inspired. One of my biggest inspirations though is Apple.
Apple, the company.
Dude, I've said this before, but their storytelling is amazing. They can tell great stories. They can make what they're selling way more than what
it actually is.
they're selling. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you buy an iPhone, you're not buying an iPhone, you're buying a lifestyle. You know,
True. That's
it's
so
just
true.
it's heavy, and how they're able to like tell that type of story and sell it. And there's one of the greatest feelings in the world is like getting an Apple product.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's crazy.
Bro, just yesterday I saw this video, this Picasso video of him drawing something. I don't know, you probably remember the ad Apple did a couple of years back, Behind the Mac, and just kind of like creative people behind the Mac. And I was just thinking, like, Picasso, if he would live today, would he use like Windows or would he use Mac? And I was like, definitely he would use Mac. And then I thought about Jesus. If Jesus would live today, would he use Apple or would he use Windows?
iPhone all day.
Yeah, all day.
So fun.
That's so good though. Yeah, Apple is huge.
Yeah.
That's cool though. Something we always ask to the people we interview is, what are your holy habits? Like habits that help you to create, habits that help you to like stay focused as well. Was it?
I think one of them is I don't have a ton of like friends that I hang out with. Once a week I'll go like skate with friends or surf with friends, but most of the time I spend with my family.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Another thing, and that's just because when you start doing what I do, first off, no one understands it. And they're like, you're weird. They don't believe in it. And so being around the people who don't believe in what you do is really bad to be around those type of people. And so kind of like I started just distancing myself from those type of people. And then after that, it was I started to get a little bit of a following. And then I realized people just want to hang out with me because of my following. And so then it was easy to kind of distance myself from those people too. And then the people who just like really, really believed in themselves, they started to pop, or believed in me, they started to pop up. And I was like, okay, these are the people I'm just going to keep in my close circle. Waking up early. Like if you want to be a successful content creator, you have to understand that all the big content creators, they all wake up around before 6 a.m. Easy. Every single one of them, dude. It's like Casey Neistat, Logan Paul, they all wake up before 6 a.m. And so doing that has been key. Like some of my best ideas, if not all my best ideas, have come either waking up early or in the spur of the moment. But both of those things happen out of prayer. And so your quality and your quantity will go up the more time you spend with God.
Yeah.
Just going to say that again, because I know content creators are listening. Your quality and your quantity will go up the more time you spend with God. And so the more time I spend like on my knees or intentionally in the Word, spending time with Him, the more, like, the better my ideas get, the higher quality of my videos, which isn't just the way it looks or sounds, but the quality of the story. I think like there's some stories on the internet that like, it's not a quality story. Like it's a story, but it's like, it's not a quality story, you know? And so, yeah, getting up early has been huge, dude. And then really investing in myself. So there's been times where I bought cameras and I didn't have any money. I bought it with debt. But I don't regret it because like I know my way around it. I know my way around a camera so well. And most of the time, like,
which one are you using right now? Which camera?
I use this one for all the people watching on video. It's a Canon M50.
M50, yeah.
Yeah, Canon M50 with a small rig cage on it, so I can mount it vertically.
That one has been key for me. I've got the small rig cage as well. It's so good. Yeah.
What is that back there? I see it.
I can show you. Wait a second. It's kind of like your setup, just with the it's your setup with the Lumix. So this is the Lumix G70.
Nice.
It can shoot 4K as well, but like really cropped sensor, and the Rode Video Micro as well, which has been really good too. And of course tripod Rode, not Rode,
nice.
Joby. Yeah, oof.
So cool. Yeah, I nerd out on gear, but most of the time I use my iPhone just because like a lot of my videos take place like with my family, so we'll be out somewhere and I'll just like start filming right away. And so that's why investing in a new iPhone is good, because the better quality of your video, the better it will perform on TikTok. And so shooting 4K on the iPhone is good as well, but I mean, higher quality the better. You just never want to let gear get in the way of the story. So if it's easier for you to tell the story on your iPhone, then tell it on your iPhone. But if you're at home, in your studio, in your office, like I'm in my office right now, I try to most of the time, if it's not just like, I got to make a video real quick and post it. If I have time, I'll use my camera just because the higher quality is better. Gonna buy the R5, Canon R5 as soon as I can.
Ooh, let's go.
Crop censored. I know, that thing is nuts, bro.
Dang, bro, yeah. My other housemate, he has the other Canon. What was
R?
the R? And he was like, "Oh, I gotta get that. I gotta get that."
Yeah, man.
I gotta
the R, even the R is nice.
Yeah, the R is already nice. But that thing is a beast. So.
But holy habits, more holy habits would be, pray and spend time with God. I think one of the things I've been doing lately is like really keeping a really close eye, a strict eye on like what I watch and what I listen to. I love rap, but it just like, it makes me think bad thoughts. And then that leads into temptation. That leads into making less content because of the shame and the guilt and just the disconnection. There's just a disconnection from God when you fall into sin. And so not that he'll ever leave you, but it's just like your spiritual signal just drops. And so it's like hard to really focus on good content when that happens. And then just like what I watch on TV, like I had to ask myself, like, do I really want to be a huge mega force in the culture, or do I want to watch like Outer Banks, you know? So it's just like stuff like that, which is like this viral show on Netflix right now. And I asked myself, you know what? It doesn't like, I want to be an influencer. Like I want to influence people for the kingdom of God. And when I watch shows of like a bunch of people making out and partying and stuff like that, it just, I think in my head, I'm able to just be like, yeah, whatever. It's like, doesn't bother me. But later, like down the week or later that night, it just bothers me. Like it just, it stays in your head. And that's just the power of imagery. And people are always like, no, it doesn't affect me. That's not true. Like your eyes are the window to your soul. and whatever you look at, your heart is going to dwell on. And
Right.
so, yeah, I just been really like, not in a legalistic way, like not like hyper crazy, like, oh, I'm not watching anything, like, not like that. But for the most part, I'm stricter than the normal person on what I listen to and what I watch. And that's like recently. That's like since Corona, I've been thinking that way. So yeah.
So that's more like what you try to avoid of doing and not like focus on it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Tell us,
And
like, what is
another
your
holy habit.
Oh yeah. Go
Last
ahead.
holy habit is just mastering. Like if I want to figure out like how to do a church service on Instagram in really high quality, I'll figure it out like 100%. And even if I don't keep on doing it that way, I just like have this mind where like I gotta master it, just in case Paul asked me, how do I do this? I know exactly how to do it. Or if Paul asked me, what microphone should I get? Or, whatever. I just try to master anything in my craft. I'll spend hours on YouTube just mastering it until I feel like, okay, yeah, I got it. And I don't need anyone to teach me. I know it.
Wow. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What is like the creative process behind creating your videos? You said waking up early helps a lot. What are like some other things that, like, how does the process look like when you create?
Okay, practically, I'll share with you like my formula that I use for all my videos. I'll share that with you. But on an even more practical sense, having this office, like having a space where if genius hits me or if a major event happens, I can respond right away. Because those are the videos that are going to do the best as a Christian content creator, because in those moments, when Corona hits, when Kobe Bryant dies, when Ahmaud Arbery gets killed, people want to know, how do I respond to this in faith? How do I respond to this in hope? And so we have to be the ones on the front line to answer that before they go to the idiots out there that'll tell them to think a different way. That's outside of the word of God. And so having a space where, at the drop of the dime, I could walk outside and make a video. And so I have my ring light in front of me. I have like, I drew all over the walls already with like some of my followers' names that have been supporters. But lights up. And so all I got to do is come here and hit record and go. That's really practical as far as a creative process goes. And always being ready to film. So when I leave the house, I have this little bag. It's kind of like a small like purse type thing. And inside it, practically, this is huge for my creative process, is this thing. So this is for all the people watching on video, this is the GIF phone clip. You can mount your phone vertical or horizontal. It's the best iPhone clip in the world. And then this is a small rig like clamp. I don't know what it's called, but it basically has a tripod mount on this side that can move any direction you want. And mount any way you want. And then it has this clamp that gets really big. I've clamped this thing around trees, around telephone poles, around like the table at the restaurant I'm working at or eating at. Anywhere you can think of, this thing will clamp onto it. I've clamped it on my ceiling fan, any type of like view or anywhere I am. This thing is like, both these things fit in my pocket, super small. And so these go everywhere with me.
It's so much smaller than the Rode, the Joby tripod. That thing is huge.
When I got this, I never used the Joby ever again.
Really? And the Joby,
my kids play with it. It breaks. Totally, dude. It breaks. And so, just started using this like crazy. When I'm vlogging, I have the switch pod.
Oh, I saw that. That thing.
That one's really cool. I use that one for vlogging. But practically just always being ready. And that's why I take these things with me anywhere. So that's the practical side. As far as the formula is, get your pens and papers, people. So I don't share this with everyone. The formula is story/illustration, Bible connection, and then application. So I do all my videos that way. And then I've kind of tweaked it, but basically I start off with an illustration. I'll say something like, this is like an iPhone clip, and it helps me not to drop my phone when I'm filming a video. And, the Bible talks about all these people in the Bible who have dropped the ball, or dropped something that was really important to them and they really screwed up. but God always catches them, and God will catch you in your mistakes or whatever. And so that would be a video, not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily make that, but it's that format. So some type of illustration, which the illustration in that story is the phone clip, and then the biblical connection is all the people who have dropped the ball. Moses when he killed that guy, just all types of guys, that have just done dumb stuff. Peter when he denied Jesus. And then, the application is that like God is going to catch you. That's something that the application is something that they can make their own, right? The story part, it's 3 parts. The story is the parable, right? Jesus always taught in parables, and parables are a story with an intended message. But a lot of times, if not all times, when Jesus uses a parable, you don't know the intended message unless the Holy Spirit reveals it to you, or Jesus sits you down and tells you it, like he did oftentimes with the disciples. He would have to explain stuff to them. And so the illustration or the story, which could either be this iPhone clip, or it could be, my son broke his leg at the beach. That's a story, and so the intended message, people don't know yet until you tell them. And the intended message is always in Scripture. That's the eternal truth that will never change. And so connecting people to an eternal truth is in a way that they can understand it is so powerful, which is why Jesus spoke in parables. But the problem with it now is people don't know what a wineskin is, the average person. The average person doesn't know what the parable of the sower is, or never seen a fig tree. And so we have to use stuff that people see every day, like an iPhone or like an iPhone clip or stuff that they see every day that's relatable to them. Connect them to that intended message, that eternal truth, and then give them a way for them to make it their own, which is the application. Which the application is kind of like, okay, what's the now what? How do I make this my own? How do I walk away with something after watching this video? That's my formula that I use in every single video. As far as the practical side of TikTok, like this is stuff that TikTok has revealed to me because I have a good relationship with TikTok. This is why Make Jesus Go Viral is really powerful, because I believe the reason why I got invited to this big TikTok conference in February was because of the online community that I've created on TikTok. And a part of that was how many views I have on Bring God Back to Culture, which I don't even know how many views it's at right now, but it's at a lot of views. And I built this community, and TikTok was interested on how I did that. And so they invited me to this thing. It was amazing. Some of the stuff that they taught us about was never delete videos. It doesn't matter how many views it gets. If you want to delete something, just make it private. Just make it private. The reason why is because when you delete a video on TikTok, you're basically saying, I'm not confident in this video, and so I'm taking it down. So if you're not confident in your own content, why should TikTok be confident in your content?
Oh.
And so what's going to happen is they're going to stop showing your videos to more and more people because you delete so many videos. If you are listening to this and you've already deleted a lot of videos, never do it again. Either do 2 things. Never do it again because your engagement's suffering because of it. And just go hard. Go freaking hard as you freaking can, and just post as many videos you can. Just go all out on it, or start a new page and start from scratch. So that's just like a little thing I would share. On TikTok, like, you are the brand, not what you talk about and not what you do. So people love Jesus. People love the content that you make, but people also really love Paul, and that's okay. We're made in the image of God. There should be something about us that people like, people are interested in, because we are God's masterpiece, and every masterpiece is different. Every painting of Michelangelo, all of his statues, everything he's done is different. And we are all different statues, different poetry, different pieces of art. So there should be something different that people appreciate about me and also appreciate about Paul. And so on TikTok, you are the brand. And this is something that TikTok shared with us, like, you are the brand. And so whatever you're interested in, whatever you love to talk about, whatever you love doing, if you can find a way to connect that to God, do it. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be this cookie cutter thing. Sometimes I'll post a video of just me and my kids just goofing around. Has nothing to do with the sermon, but they know what I'm about already.
Yeah.
You know, and they love what I'm about. And because I am the brand, I can post a video just me vibing out to like my favorite What Up RG song, you know? And so because I'm the brand and they know, okay, this guy's about Christianity, he's about Christian culture. Yeah, any questions that you might have like about TikTok and like growing on TikTok?
So something I've realized in the last couple of weeks, and a good friend of mine who's on TikTok as well, is that like the views has been dropping extremely from just like a couple of months ago. Like the organic just like engagement has been dropping a lot. So some of the videos, you know, I've like 72,000 followers, but like they reach like 3,000 to 4,000 people if it's not getting on the For You page. Do you know anything about that, or
Yeah,
something to
totally.
improve about
So
that?
it could be because of deleting.
I've never
Another
done that.
thing that it could be
I've
you never
never
deleted?
no.
Good, bro.
Yeah.
Never do it. That means I wish I never deleted some videos. But so with that, you gotta understand that like we got into TikTok in the golden era.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone who blew up on TikTok, they blew up in 2019.
Yeah.
Charlie D'Amelio, biggest TikToker, she started, I believe, April of early 2019.
Really?
And so
That's
all the
crazy.
big TikTokers, everyone who has over 10,000 followers, those are all people who got in it at the right time. And so you should feel about yourself the same way guys like Logan Paul, Emma Chamberlain, you know, the big YouTubers, David Dobrik, PewDiePie, you should feel how they feel is how you should feel about TikTok, because they got into YouTube at the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're as big as they are, and they're really good at what they do. And so if you're good at what you do and you get into a platform at the perfect time, there's prime real estate. And after all the real estate's up, then everyone who comes in is just a viewer or just a tenant, or they're just renting, right? But there's people who own the app, own space on the app, and they will forever own space on the app because they got in at the right time. So that is you. You got in at the right time. That window's closing. So as you're listening to this, if you want to be a Christian content creator, start now. Like this is a good time to get into TikTok because that window is closing. I think it'll probably close by the end of Corona. I think the world is just going to be a different place after Corona. And this is just like how I'm feeling just in my spirit. With as far as views dropping, I think it's because that window is closing and the real estate is getting bought up. And so with more people on the app, there is more content that's being watched, but also that means more people are putting out content to be watched. Right. And so if your content is gonna rise above all that, you've got to get better at what you do. And the only way to get better at what you do is to focus on it and nothing else.
Yeah.
And so this was a decision I had to make. Like I had to stop going so hard at YouTube. Like I had to quit YouTube basically. The only reason why I have YouTube now is because we do a YouTube church service on it. But that's really the only thing that I post on my YouTube channel other than my TikToks. Like I'll take my TikToks and post them over there. Instagram's the same way. I post my TikToks on Instagram and it's just, I have 30,000 something over on Instagram, but I don't really push my Instagram. I don't get on my TikTok and say, hey, go follow me over there as much as I used to, just because I realized like, you know what, I need to double down on TikTok. And I actually heard Gary Vee tell that to Charlie.
Really,
yeah, because he told like Little Huddy, she was dating at the time, all these other TikTokers, they were going hard at YouTube and they were focusing on that. And she asked Gary Vee, what should I do? This is before she was even at like 30,000. I think she was still in the 20 million, or I'm sorry. She was still in the 20 millions before she was like at 30 million and 50 million, at like over 50 million where she is now. He said, yeah, focus on TikTok. Don't focus on YouTube. Just go hard on it. And it's because Gary knows how big TikTok is going to be and how big it's going to change culture.
Wow.
And so
because that's something I did. I focused a lot on YouTube as well, put out a lot of content on YouTube, like longer videos. because I was like, okay, I reach a lot of people on TikTok, and then I tell them to go on YouTube, and I can influence them for like a longer video, longer time. Yeah.
Yeah. If you study your analytics, you study what works and what doesn't work, you study other TikTokers without copying them. Don't copy them. Maybe use some of the stuff that they use, but be yourself and see what works for other people. And so one thing I did was there's this girl I found, I don't even remember her name, but she just tells, she is a really good storyteller. And so I just like studied her content for like a week. I was just like watching all her videos, and just I picked up on little stuff, like the way that she moves her voice up and down, and the way that she gets quiet and then goes really loud, like stuff like that. It just grabs your attention, and it makes people want to watch. Starting with the climax of the video. That was a big thing that I realized that she did. She starts with the most important thing. So for example, I tried it out. One of the things she does is like, she's like, I found this box in my garage or whatever. She starts like that. And so I went on a walk with my boys, and we found this abandoned tennis court. And so I started like that. Like, we found this abandoned tennis court, and it pulls people in right away. They're like, whoa, why is it abandoned? You know, what's wrong with it? And so, I wouldn't have got that video got like 700,000 views. I wouldn't have got those views if I didn't really focus on TikTok and focus on what's working, what's not working, and just really studied it. And so you will see your views go up if you devote your time to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I got to 1 million, not by saying yes to stuff, but by saying no to a lot.
And that is a strong yes to TikTok. Like when you say no to Instagram, that's a bigger yes to TikTok. Yeah.
Saying no to stuff. Like if someone's like, hey bro, you want to come hang out? Most of the time my answer is no. Like, I gotta film. Because I want to get myself to a certain place that I want to, be at in the content creation world. And also, this is a big thing too. If genius like hits you, like, stop what you're doing and film it. Like, you have to. Like, if you're hungry and you're on the way to McDonald's, but you see something that's like would be a good video, you think, even if it flops, stop and go and do it. Just do it. I promise you, like, those are the times where you grow exponentially. Those times where, like, I'm driving, I see something, I stop and I film it, and I make a video about it, even if it just gets no views at all. Those are the times where I've grown so much as a creator.
Yeah. That's funny, because my most successful video, most viewed video, was about McDonald's. So it's
so cool.
And it's like the same formula as well. It's like this illustration of something, biblical truth, and then apply or like call to action. And that's been working for me as well.
Can I tell you why the McDonald's one worked?
Why?
So, I mean, you're a good teacher. Like, you're a good preacher of the gospel, and you have a good personality. So that's part of it too. And you have influence, God-given influence, but everyone's been to McDonald's.
Yeah, right.
And that's why it works. If you notice TikTok, like, my videos that have done the best have been situations that people have been in before, or someone very close to them have been in before. And so I posted one 2 days ago. I got 3 million views, or it's over 3 million views right now. I was taking my son slammed his finger in a door.
Yeah.
And we took him to the AR. Well, everyone has slammed their finger in a door before.
Yeah.
And so it grabs your attention, and it makes people feel like, oh, I've done that before. Instagram is about vanity, and TikTok is about reality. And so Instagram is like, watch me flex, watch what I'm doing that you're not doing. TikTok is about, like, look at what I'm doing that you've probably done before, or that you've really wanted to do, or that you've almost done.
Yeah.
And so any type of relatable content is gonna perform really well. The funniest videos on TikTok are the videos that
you can relate to. Yeah.
Right. It's funny because it's true. That's what makes the best TikToks. It's funny because it's true. Or that hits different because it's true. Right? The one with my son slammed his finger in the door. I said at the end of it, sometimes in life we get hurt without doing anything wrong, but it makes us stronger.
Yeah.
And that's biblical, and it hits you different because it's true. And so, think relatable. Use the formula that I gave you that you're already using, but think like relatable. If it's not relatable, don't do it. Like, I'll probably do it just because I want to, but like, I'll probably film a video at a waterfall and it won't do good because the average person doesn't go to a waterfall.
Right.
And so, and if I film it at a waterfall, then I'll film it about like, I was at a waterfall and the floor was covered, or the ground was covered in cigarettes. So at least there's this relatable piece to it, you know, where it's like, oh, I've been in nature before and I saw trash and it made me upset. You know, everyone's felt that before. So yeah, just making it relatable is what's going to make it pop off. Wow. This is why Charlie's videos are all in her room.
Ooh.
Because everyone watches TikTok in their room. Right. It's personal, right? TikTok's in the bathroom, TikTok's in people's car. Those do the best. Why? Because it's a personal, relatable place that everyone's been before.
Right. Right. That's true. Yeah. I'm gonna use this room now for TikToks as well.
Do it, man.
That's amazing.
Use your car, use the bathroom. It's powerful stuff.
Right. Yeah. So good. Oh, okay. I have to think about that. I'm probably gonna rewatch the whole thing anyways. That's awesome. Okay. Just gonna hop over to the next part. We've done some Instagram questions yesterday, and I picked 3 questions that I really liked. The first thing was, because we've talked about this earlier today, you've been going through a lot of stuff recently. The last month was really bad. Right. And one person asked, how do you stay positive when bad things are going on in your life? Maybe give a little bit of context of like what happened in the last weeks as well, so that people can like know about that as well.
Totally. My son got pneumonia. This is all 2020. My son got pneumonia, got really, really skinny, like to the point where we thought like we might lose him. Pneumonia is one of the #1 killers for kids. And so that was scary. It was right after moving back to Hawaii. So we were here for about, 2 to 3 months when this happened. Then after that, Corona happened. Then after that, my cousin who we adopted, he was basically like my little brother. He got shot. He got murdered. Then my wife's little cousin got cancer and died. Then we had a miscarriage. The miscarriage came before that last death. And then my grandpa died. And then after that, I got a pretty big, I don't even know how to, I went through some really big persecution just yesterday. On where someone basically did some type of weird coding thing so that when people searched my name and a platform that I'm associated with, porn would pop up. And so took some coding, took someone that was like really intricately hateful towards me to pull a move like that. And so, just a lot of persecution, a lot of just stuff like that, real heavy stuff going on. I didn't deal with the first 3 to 4 things well. And what I say by that is I watched way more Netflix and, surfed way more than I was in the Bible. I was I moved away from God in the first 3 to 4 bad situations. And then I saw what I was doing. And then I was like, oh, okay. I'm totally in these moments. I'm not believing God is good. I'm going to other stuff. I'm still saying he's good. I'm still believing that he's good, but I'm not trusting in the fact that he's good. And so I would turn to Netflix and junk food and even beer, turning to beer. And so once I realized that, I was like, okay, no more drinking. Stop. Not doing that. No more Netflix. I'm going to get in the word. I'm going to read the word. I'm going to listen to worship music. I'm going to listen to Christian rap. I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to fill my head with stuff as I go through this miscarriage, as I go through this persecution, as I go through my grandpa dying, stuff like that. I just went hard at trying to stay close to the Lord. And another thing that helped me was the content. It was all good content. So creating, as a creator, creating something is always going to give me peace. It's always going to help me deal with the situation. In the same way that I think if Steph Curry had a miscarriage, I think he would probably go shoot some baskets to get his head out of it, or I don't even know a NASCAR driver, Dale Earnhardt. Like if he was stressed out and he went through a miscarriage or someone close one died to him, I think he'd go for a drive. And so it's in our giftings that God is going to comfort us at times. And so for my dad really can't even process something negative until he preaches about it. And I learned that from him. And so it doesn't mean like you're using that. It doesn't mean I use my cousin's death for views. It just means like it gave me like closure, you know, making that video about the miscarriage gave me closure because I am a creator and because it's what I do. Knowing that, and the reason why is because I know I had a miscarriage so that I could encourage someone else who had a miscarriage. I know my cousin died so that I could talk about gang violence. And so I can talk about how to deal with losing a loved one, stuff like that. I went through this persecution as a Christian content creator so that I could help guys like Paul when they go through it, because they definitely are going to go through it in some way. Someone's going to come at you if you're a Christian content creator. And so seeing the purpose in the pain, it has helped me go through it a lot easier.
Wow. That's gold. Seeing the purpose in the pain. Wow. It's kind of like related to the second question as well. If someone asked, how do you deal with doubts, especially like doubts of like quitting or like continue doing of what you want to do? Yesterday you did a live stream about with your friend. I don't remember his name. It was some kind of youth group. You did the live stream on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And you talked about like how you always have like every week like doubts and like thoughts of quitting, and I just like relate to that. I was like, dude, every week, every day almost, I'm like, oh, should I continue doing this? Should I upload today? How do you deal with that? How do you continue doing that?
Well, the milestones really help. Like hitting a big milestone really helps. Little victories like that, videos that get a lot of views, DMs that really hit my heart. But the big thing is like just wanting it. Just wanting it. Like I want it so bad for the kingdom, not necessarily for myself, but really just for the kingdom. Like I want people to know it can be done.
Wow.
And so that keeps me going. Like the idea of like hitting 1 million was a big deal to me, because I know that all the Christian content creators who follow me, it's going to make them want to go hard for the gospel.
Right.
And so I was like, that pumps me up, dude. Like knowing that like I'm building the kingdom, that's what keeps me going. Yeah. And then honestly, my wife, every time that I've wanted to go get a real job, she has told me just to keep going. So having someone in your life that believes in what you do, and that if you're a Christian content creator and you're dating someone and they don't believe in what you do, break up with them, because you will give up. Right. You have to have a spouse that believes in what you do and sees the value in what you do. And if they don't, show them some of my videos, show them some of Paul's videos, show them like the impact, let them read comments, let them read DMs, right? Of how this type of content has impacted their life. And then they'll start to get it. And if they don't get it after that, break up with them, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my wife pushing me to keep going all those times that I felt really discouraged. And every time you get a bad comment, every time you get some type of persecution, it only happens because you're doing the right thing. That's
so cool. Yeah. Something you posted in your 1 million post yesterday on Instagram as well was 1 million all by preaching the word. And that just inspired me. I was like, you can reach 1 million followers by just preaching the gospel. And that's what we are called to do. Preach the word. I think Paul writes that to Timothy, preach the word, nothing else, just the word. And that's just so the cool. Word. Another question, or the last Instagram question, which fits really well to what you just said, is someone asked, how did you meet your wife?
We met at church. We met at college group. I dated a couple girls in college, and all of them were kind of like, we just weren't on the same page. They're all great girls. They're all cool. We just weren't on the same page. Like, and we just grew up different. Like God was doing different stuff in my life and in their life. And so I got to this point where I just told God, like, look, the next person I get into a relationship with, I just want to get married. Like I wanted marriage really bad, because I knew myself. I knew I was struggling with lust. I knew I was struggling with like purpose, and I needed someone to like kind of like hold me down because I'm a crazy person. So I just want to go do everything all at once. And so I needed an anchor, and I needed a partner in ministry, and I needed to remain pure. And the Bible says, Paul says, like, if you're struggling with it, get married.
Yeah.
And so if you want to catch a certain type of fish, you got to fish in the right place. Like here in Hawaii, we have tuna everywhere. So if you want tuna, you got to go where the tuna is. And so I wanted a Christian girl who wanted to do ministry for the rest of her life. And so I went to a college group, and Lokalani, my wife, Lokalani, which means Heavenly Rose. She she's from California. I know it's a great name. She's from California, and she was serving as one of the college leaders in a college group. And so at the college group, all the girls who were there just to be fed spiritually and learn, they didn't stick out to me. It was the girl that was in leadership, that was there to serve others. And so right away, she caught my eye. And I'd met her a couple times before, but it was when I saw her at church serving that I just fell in love with her. And so, and I told her, like, pretty much right away, like within the first month, I think, of knowing her, I told her, like, look, I want to get married, and I think, like, you're that person. And she wasn't really attracted to me at all. She just thought I was a cool person. She thought that I wore, like, my heart on my sleeve. I was just myself. Like, I was just crazy Alex, you know?
Yeah.
And I was honest with her, and I was honest with her because if what I said to her scared her, then I knew she wasn't the person. And so I told her straight up, like, I want to get married. I think you're the person. And I told her I don't want to kiss. We didn't kiss to our wedding day. I don't even want to necessarily date. I don't even want to do any of that. I just want to pursue God and get to know each other and talk about what we want to do in life. And I was actually in Germany. I was in, dude.
You told me that before.
I think I told you this before. Yeah. I was in Frankfurt am Main.
Oh, Frankfurt, yeah.
And I was on a short, small mission trip. And we were FaceTiming. And in those FaceTime calls, I realized, like, I am so attracted to her because she's beautiful, but also for her heart for the Lord.
Wow.
And I felt so confident around her. I just felt so myself around her. And then, I flew back. And on the way back from Frankfurt all the way to Fresno, California, I just thought about it the whole time. I asked some random lady that was a mom on the flight, and we talked about it together. And she told me, you need to talk to your actual mom. And so,
That's so funny.
It's funny, dude. When I got back to Fresno, I asked her right there in the airport. I got on my knee right there in the airport. Yep. When she picked me up from the airport.
But did you have a ring, or did you just ask her?
Nope, I didn't have a ring or nothing. Before I left, my mom had gave me my grandmother's ring, who had passed away. So I had that one. It was at home. I didn't have it with me, but I was walking down the terminal and I saw her, and she had a sign that said "Welcome home." She's picking me up from the airport, and I got on my knee right there, and I just asked her to marry me. And then I think 3 months later we got married. So we knew each other for 8 months.
That's crazy. That's beautiful.
Dude, nuts.
What a story. Gives me hope, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think look in the right places and just be straight up with someone.
Yeah.
If they get scared, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to be like, yeah, I'm not ready for that. That's kind of weird. Okay. So she's going to go tell her girlfriends, yeah, this guy said he wants to marry me. And the average girl is going to be like, that's awesome. Like, at least he was honest with you. Guys aren't honest with girls.
Wow.
And so they appreciate it. They appreciate honesty. Even if the honesty scares them, they appreciate it because at least they know.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's about it for my questions. Just to summarize all of this up, Alex, one motivation for the people out there, for content creators, what would you give them? What would you share to encourage them?
Practically, I would say download TikTok, start posting on there. If you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you draw, if you're anything, there's a place for you on TikTok. A lot of things that keeps Christians from downloading the app is all the dances. And you can kind of curate the algorithm to not show you that type of stuff by holding down the middle of the screen a notification will pop up that says, "Are you not interested in this?" And you just click on it, and TikTok will start to learn what you don't want to see. And so, yeah, practically, I would say that it's the best. If you want to get started in content creating, TikTok right now is the best place to be. If you want to eventually do YouTube or eventually do Twitter or eventually do anything else, if you want to start anywhere, TikTok is going to be the place. My following on YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff has grown exponentially because of TikTok. But I would say focus on TikTok. Before you focus on anything else, just go hard on it for at least 6 months. At least 6 months, not focusing on anything else. Just go hard on it and just see what happens. And understand that the internet is so dark and people are addicted to so many things. People are so lost, so without hope, and they're looking for it in the wrong places. And you could really hope, or really bring hope to people by what you post. What you post has power. Even if it's a selfie with a selfie on your Instagram story with a verse underneath it, even if it's just a verse that you just posted to your story, I'm telling you, what you post has power. And because what you post when it's Christian, it's light, and light always beats out darkness. Light always shines. The Bible says that God is light, and in him there's no darkness at all. And so when you shine the light of God into the dark world of the internet, it's gonna impact people in a major way. And so every post you make matters.
Awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
Nice. We've talked for a good amount of time now. So
It's fun.
those people that don't follow you already, where can they find you? And even we haven't talked about that at all. You live completely by donations. If somebody feels encouraged to give to you, how can they do that? Where do they find you? How can they give to you, to your ministry?
That's awesome. Thank you. If you want to connect with me personally, Alex Dion Wilson everywhere. If you type that in YouTube, my YouTube channel will pop up. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat. Our churches that we take donations to, we're a 501c3 religious organization, so it's all tax deductible. Insta Church Live on Instagram, TikTok Church Live, and YouTube Church Live. You can go to churchlive.info, or you can go to instachurch.live to give there, and that would mean the world. We live not by paycheck to paycheck, but by donation by donation.
Wow.
Donation to donation. That's how we live.
It's crazy.
So it's fun, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Last word to you, Alex. Then we wrap this up.
Dude, awesome. I love you guys. I love you, Paul. Keep going. Keep posting. Whatever you believe is going to happen, it can happen. Believe it. Write it down. Write it down. Whether it's a tattoo or a page in your Bible or on your wall, write down like what your goal is. So like I told you my goals already, I have those written down and I talk about them. The biggest thing is saying them out loud. Even if you feel like people will think you crazy, just say it. Just say it out loud and believe it, and it'll happen, man. We have to understand, God wants you to get 100 million views on the Make Jesus Go Viral hashtag. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like, give me one reason why God wouldn't want Jesus to go viral.
I don't know one.
Yeah. You're telling me you think God doesn't want you to have 100,000 followers? You think God doesn't want you to, if you make Christian content, you're telling me God doesn't want that? As dark as the internet is, he wants this for you. You have to want it, and you have to believe he wants it for you, and then you have to work towards it.
Awesome. Wow. All right. Let me finish this up. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has greatly encouraged me. I hope it encouraged you guys out there as well. This has been like a one-on-one mentorship call for me. I don't even care about the listeners right now.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Thank you guys so much. If you have any podcast requests, people that we could interview, let us know. Write us a DM. Check out Alex. What he's doing is amazing. Thank you guys so much for listening. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.